Alright, almost Christmas. I'm gonna do a video on my favorite fish. One of Moorish idol. I think Moorish idol is one of the nicest fish, most elegant you can get. Definitely one of my favorites, besides powder blue and Kihi. But just if you do some research online, you'll find that they're really hard to keep because people say they don't eat. Well, I'm not sure about that because this is not my only Moorish idol. I had kept around 8. I sold most of them after I got into eat New Spectrum. But lots of different stories in this fish. So my fish, it eats algae, eats mysid, and it eats pellets. But from what I read online, from my experience, you have to get these fish to eat either good quality flake or pellet. I feed them New Spectrum, and you can see this fish is thick, healthy, and has grown quite a bit. I had it for about 6 months, more than 6 months. Probably, I think it grew about 1.5 inches. But the trick is they get bullied easily, so you have to get them like early. Preferably before you get any tangs, because I think tangs like to fight with them. I had a powder brown that tried to bully this fish, and I got rid of the powder brown. So this fish is the largest fish in this tank, and no problem. And some people talk about quarantining your fish, which is a good thing, but Moorish idol, if you put them in a small quarantine tank, they just get stressed out and the water quality turns back easily, and they won't eat, and they will die. And also, I found they cannot take high concentration of copper. So with this fish, I just dumped it in straight into this tank, and I had it special order through another fish store people, so they picked up from the airport, and I got this fish straight from the back from Hawaii and put it in this tank, and it got egg, but you know, thawed it off. Wasn't too bad. I got a UV sterilizer, and it's been here since. In the past, I've tried quarantining them, like according to some people in the forums, like copper and everything. They can't make it through copper. They would turn super skinny despite eating, and I have to pull the copper. But once you pull the copper, the egg comes. So it's, you have to be patient. Like the egg will come, and you just have to let the fish fight it off. Give it stable water conditions, no bullies in the tank, and like good food. Give them food, like even if it doesn't eat, still feed it. Make sure you have hermit crabs and stuff to clean off the food if the fish doesn't eat it. Like don't freak out and pull it out and put it in copper. Like the more stressed out they get, they won't eat, and that's when they don't eat, they get into trouble, and that's why they die. And yeah, I actually had put 2 more in with this Moorish idol, but they all ate pellets. Were fine, but this guy just beat the shit out of them, so I pulled them and sold them up. If you find them in fish store and they're already really skinny, probably not a good choice to pick them up, because I find once they get to a point, they, like when they're really skinny, they just don't want to eat. And this Moorish idol, so far it hasn't touched any of my calls. Pretty safe, but the ones I had in the past, a few of them had picked calls, so there's no guarantee. And if you keep like bigger tanks or bigger angels of them, they tend to get bullied sometimes. They can be aggressive too, but it's not the biggest fish in the tank. The other fish tends to take out his streamer. But feed them like like I said, a good quality pellet, and feed them often. This fish is when I go to work is fed by automatic timer, so it gets fed about 6 times a day. And on weekends I give it mysid, and on and off I give it some seaweed. Eats everything. I guess it comes down to if you're willing to take a risk and not quarantine the fish, and it can't be bullied by, like, say big tanks or like emperors and other things, because once it stresses out, it stops eating. When I added 2 more Moorish idol, I mentioned earlier, this fish actually stopped eating. It wanted to fight with the other ones, and it actually stopped eating. So I guess it was stressed because the territory getting invaded, and eventually started to eat again, but still. So just to make my point that if they get stressed out, they won't eat. And if you don't fix the problem, they just they starve to death. Oh, and people say same thing with the flagman, they need to eat sponges. Well, I don't have sponges in this tank, but this fish is growing, so you gotta give them good quality pellet. If people tell you that Moorish idol is eating but they're only eating mysid, the fish won't last. That's what I've learned from talking to other people. It's easy to get them to eat mysid actually, but they don't last. They will fade away eventually and die. If you're one of those people that don't like to feed your fish because you want to keep SPS, like top quality, water quality, don't get Moorish idol, because they need to eat a lot, just like powder tanks. And I also heard about people saying that you need to get these fish in groups of pairs. I haven't tried to put 2 of them together at once, but if you have one here, start off and stable, I don't think you can add another one unless you like destroy the rock work and change everything. But I might try to add another one when I upgrade to a bigger tank, because when I was diving in Hawaii, Moorish idol is always in pairs. And just to point out, New York Steel also has a great video on Moorish idol. So at the end of the day, if you're willing to make sacrifices, you have to monitor your fish. You have to take care of them. Don't just dump in the tank and like feed and hope for the best. Like if it's getting some stress from a certain fish and not eating, you have to take care of that. If you don't like your pellet, you have to try flakes. If you don't like that particular flake, you might have to try another flake. But if you do all those things right and you pick a healthy fish, like don't let them sit in the fish store for weeks, a month, for weeks, because once they start to get skinny, and the fish store, they tend to use copper, so if they're in prolonged periods of copper, they also waste away. So if you do your research, have a stable tank, no bullies, nothing, you can give this fish a try, but they're not for everybody. but definitely really nice and elegant. I also find that if you put them in a huge tank with a bunch of fish, even if it doesn't get bullied, if the other fish eats, if you don't feed them enough and the other fish eats all your pellets, these fish will be in trouble too. Initially they don't go actively hunting or like foraging food, so like I said, I think this was my one of like third or fourth fish to put in this tank after the flake bin, and I took out the powdered brown, so I kind of overfed the tank, and it starts to pick pellets off the floor, and that's how I got to start eating the pellets. So you got to take risks, like overfeeding will make the water quality kind of bad, but I got a big skimmer. And that's also how I got my Mandarin goby to eat pellets too. And once that thing starts to eat pellets, just like explode in growth. Like now it's like 4 times the original size. I might do a video on that fish later on, but we'll see. Alright, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. And see you all next year. If I don't make another video before New Year's.